I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. If you've been ghosted by a candidate lately, take a deep breath. It is not personal, but it is a signal. And today I'm going to decode exactly what that signal is and what it isn't. Welcome back to Aspire Higher Conversations, the podcast where we pull back the curtain on how powerhouse teams are built in the world of consumer goods. I'm your host, Chelsea Leon, founder of Aspire Higher, the CPG recruiter helping beauty and personal care, apparel, and food and beverage brands hire the A players who quietly move mountains. And today, we need to talk about ghosting. Because yes, it happens. Yes, it's painful. And no, it's not because candidates are unreliable now or Gen Z doesn't care. I promise you, it's deeper than that. Here's the thing. When a candidate disappears, most hiring managers automatically assume it's a candidate problem. But ghosting is almost always an indicator of a process problem, not a people problem. Ghosting is data, it's feedback, it's a signal from the market, even if it's delivered in the most annoying way possible. So let's decode what it's actually telling you. Ghosting isn't random, it's predictable. It typically happens because of three things. One, broken feedback loops. If candidates go days or weeks without hearing anything from you, they mentally move on. Talented professionals assume that silence equals rejection. Two, unclear or clunky process. If a candidate doesn't know what's coming next, if your timeline keeps shifting, if they're not sure who they're meeting or why, confidence drops, uncertainty rises, and ghosting happens. Three is slow turnaround time. Now, this one is huge because top performers don't stay on the market for long. And if your interview process is taking 4 to 6 or more weeks, you're not competing against other employers at that point. You are competing against inertia. The longer it takes, the more likely that they are to take another offer, stay put, or mentally just check out. Let me tell you something important. A players rarely ghost because they're flaky. Ghost because they've made a decision, they just didn't communicate it. Here's what their silence is actually saying: I don't feel prioritized. If they feel like the process is dragging, they assume that the role is not urgent or that they are not the top choice. And the brand's internal communication might just be messy and maybe it's just not the right fit for them. Candidates judge your interviews as a preview of your culture. And if things feel unorganized or too chaotic or not transparent communication, they assume that's the day to day culture too. And they're thinking to themselves, I don't see a clear future here. Top talent cares about clarity. What does success look like? How will I grow? What's the impact of this role? And if that isn't defined, they disengage and they think, oh, I'm not going to chase you, right? So strong candidates don't pursue companies that don't pursue them back. Remember, you're not the only one evaluating fit. They are too. In a tight talent market, especially in the consumer goods world, candidates talk. They talk to each other, they talk to former colleagues, they talk to recruiters, and yes, they talk about your interview process. Your candidate experience is part of your employer brand. And your employer brand is shaped by speed, clarity, communication, respect, and whether you follow through on what you said you would do. Ghosting is heavy in companies where teams are overwhelmed, communication is inconsistent, decision making is slow, priorities keep changing, and candidates feel that energetically. And top talent steps out quietly rather than confronting it. Is it annoying? Yes. But is it the truth? Now, here's the good news: ghosting is preventable when you have the right structure. And that is exactly where Aspire Hire operates differently. We set clear expectations from day one. Candidates know the process, the timeline, who they're meeting, and what success looks like, and what you're evaluating. There's no ambiguity, no confusion, no surprises. And if there is ambiguity, we are upfront and transparent, saying, hey, there's ambiguity here. Are you comfortable with that? We get their buy in on it. There's continuous communication. I don't let candidates wonder what's happening. I update them even when the update is, hey, we're still waiting for an update. Here's where things stand. Silence loses talent. Transparency keeps them engaged. And third is that we focus on real relationships. I am not sending copy paste messages or managing 40 plus open recs. I work deeply with my clients, my searches, and my candidates. They trust me, they tell me the truth, and they share hesitations early instead of disappearing. Fourth is our performance based hiring process. I define success clearly upfront so that candidates immediately understand the mission, the expectation, and the measurable outcomes. Clarity equals confidence. Confidence equals commitment, and commitment equals no ghosting. So, if you've been ghosted lately, don't beat yourself up, but don't ignore it either. Ghosting is a market signal telling you where the gaps are, where the process needs tightening, where communication needs strengthening, and where your employer brand might be unintentionally repelling top talent. And with the right partner, someone who understands candidate psychology and employer realities, you can stop ghosting before it ever even starts. That's what I do. That is what Aspire Hire is built on. And that is how you attract and keep A players in consumer goods. If you found this helpful, share it with another consumer goods hiring manager, founder, or talent leader who needs this insight today. And subscribe to Aspire Hire Conversations. We've got more behind the scenes truth coming your way. I'm Chelsea Leon. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.